Hey YouTube family, so this week's video is going to be about hidden costs in new construction, master plan community, HOA stuff that really isn't advertised, but it will definitely be coming up, not only when you buy new construction, but when you go to resell in these nice fancy master plan communities. So let's get into it.
I'm Amber Moore.
And I'm Brett Wallace.
And we're your Houston Local Guide. Okay, so it's a really exciting topic here today, right? HOA fees.
It's been coming up more and more, right?
I know it has. It's a necessary evil we have to discuss. But before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit that little notification bell. We do release a new video every single week. And while you're down there, don't forget to get our email address and our phone number. Don't hesitate to reach out to us anytime. We love talking all things real estate, including homeowners association topics, right? Such as fees and these hidden costs. And there's all kind of terminology that floats around out there. So we hope by way of this video today, we provide some clarification. Right?
Yeah, and it can be confusing, but there are a lot of different terms and a lot of different labels of these fees, but we're going to try to go over what they're most commonly called, but it's all the same. It all boils down to the same thing.
You're spending money.
Yeah, and so basically things start with the developer. Yeah. There's a big, the developers that actually, bulldoze the land, prep the land, and then sell to individual builders. Sections get built out, and then the builders sell to homeowners. Well, the developer is the actual owner of the land, and then the HOA companies are the people, or the HOA management companies, right, are hired by the homeowners associations. And any master plan community that we're selling in, and any master plan community, is going to have a homeowners association.
For sure. They're there to enforce things, right?
Yeah,
That's the whole point.
So basically, the bylaws, the covenants, the deed restrictions, that is kind of set forth by the developer, given over to the HOA management company. And then as far as like monthly, yearly budgetary constraints and things, there are still things that the actual homeowners do get to vote on and kind of do get to, the HOA board is usually members of the community that are on the board. So you as a homeowner, you do have some say-so, but the stuff that we're talking about right now and we're going to address in this video is kind of set forth by the developer, and they're kind of non-negotiables. So I'm going to zoom out real quick, and I'm actually going to start showing some of the actual websites where they address these developer-related fees that are, I wouldn't say staggering, but they're not something to glaze over, and we are getting a lot more questions from our new home construction buyers, whether they're out of state or just moving in town to a new construction community. So let's go into this right now. So Harvest Green is a neighborhood in Richmond, Texas, right off the Grand Parkway. I found this in an actual Perry Homes contract. So let's just go through the fees. So basically, these one-time fees when there is a new construction, or when there's resales, right? Some of these come up at each time it changes hands from either the builder to the buyer or the next buyer to the second owner of the property on the resale market. So I see something called foundation fees. I see capital cap fees, which is capital. And then I sometimes see funding fees. They're basically rainy day funds. It's kind of like the title companies will explain to you at closing. But for instance, in Harvest Green is a Johnson Development Corp community. Johnson Development is the biggest developer in the country. Sienna, Jordan Ranch, Riverstone. I could keep going, but I first started seeing this pop up about 4 or 5 years ago, where it's like, hey, what is this 1/4 of 1/4% of
the sales price?
Yeah, so if you have a $400,000 home, it's going to be a $1,000 fee. And this is not HOA dues. Your HOA dues are yearly.
Typically, unless you're in a townhome or something like that where it's monthly.
It's quarterly. But your typical single family home, your HOA dues are due in January, right? You pay in advance, right? So your 2022 dues are due in January of 2022.
So hopefully you paid yours this year, Brett. Dang it. I paid mine.
I need to set a reminder. Just kidding. I'll
send you an email.
This video's been done in August. I'm just kidding. No, so HOA dues is totally separate than this. You can always count on those dues being
present
yes,
and it's
yes,
prorated at the time of
correct.
closing between the seller and the buyer, but this is an additional fee or fees that we're discussing.
Correct.
Yeah.
So let's just go into the Harvest Green explanation of what a foundation fee is right here. And I've kind of highlighted it. So the deed restrictions provide for a foundation committee, which is duly appointed, the board of directors by the association. The foundation committee's activities are funded by the payment of the foundation fee payable at the time of transfer to a home. Okay, the purpose of the foundation committee and the foundation fee are to invest in the future of Harvest Green and the surrounding community, to supplement and complement the functions of the association, and to enhance services and resources to the community through sponsorship of program activities and events in and around Harvest Green.
Okay, so Brett, break down the jargon here.
Okay, I love Johnson. I love Newland. I love all these. They're all doing it. This is, in my opinion, this is kind of, they call it the capitalization or a reserve. This is basically padding the accounts of the developer. And yes, do they do philanthropic? Yes, they do programs in the cities or in the county, in the communities. They do. I saw that Johnson does give grants to schools in their areas for.
So they do give back. Is
yes,
the point,
yes,
right?
Correct. So. I can't help but think that at the time of closing, someone's deciding to sell their home and move to Michigan, or somebody's coming from Staten Island, like some of our clients are coming, or California to move here. You're not going to not move or not sell because of a quarter point of a sale. So in my opinion, I'm not going to say a money grab, right? But all the developers are doing this now. So if you want to live in a nice master plan community, expect these fees. We don't know really what goes on. It's when you see this next definition. So let's kind of talk. So that one was called a foundation fee. This is Cross Creek Ranch, another Johnson community. And I'm not knocking Johnson. They're the best.
This is just an example.
But
right.
They're the most prevalent. But all the master plan communities are doing this, right? So this Cross Creek Ranch, 2016, and this is kind of when I first started seeing this about 5-6 years ago. And now it's every time. I've even seen a 0.33%.
I had a client just pay 1% of the sales price. So.
Yeah, and it's like no one's going to say no. So this one actually kind of breaks down the differences between a cap fee and a foundation. When is it due? And again, every community is different. But we just wanted to, because there's so much new construction going on in Greater Houston, we wanted to address these fees, whether it's called a foundation fee, a funding fee, a cap fee. It's every time the home changes hands. And I do have some title companies that say, well, the HOA says that, like right here, resale home, it does say that the builder seller pays the foundation fee, 0.25%. We even asked Nimesh, our broker, today. He's like, yes, typically the foundation fee is paid by the seller. So again, $400,000 home in Cross Creek. This is 2016, obviously, so it's 2022. Might be different, but typically expect if it's 400 grand, 0.25% is going back to the developer when you sell. And typically, as they kind of set forth, customary, it's paid by the seller. In this one, the buyer pays. And it says cap fee, foundation fee, 0. I can assure you now, there are cap fees. There's usually a combination of a foundation fee and a cap fee. So I'm seeing it's usually split, but in today's crazy market, it's negotiable. And sellers right now, if I have a $400,000 home and somebody offers me $430,000, $30,000 above list, and asks me to pay for this $1,000 fee or whatever it would be,
you might be agreeable to that.
Yeah, so I mean, just because the HOA says, oh, we suggest that the seller or buyer pays, you want to know about this as a buyer, and as agents, we want to get out in front of this, and we want to talk to our sellers, and we want to talk to our buyers, even on resale, and just say, hey, these fees are out there. Somebody's got to pay the tab, and it just goes to net, right? So if it's just not good when everybody thinks the old days of a transfer fee or a certificate of compliance.
A few $100 maybe.
Yeah, $300 for the transfer from one owner to the next, or the certificate of compliance where they go by and take pictures of the front exterior to make sure that there's no HOA violations currently right around the time of the contract changing hands. So again, these fees are out there. Here is from, I believe, Spectrum Association Management. What is a capitalization fee? And this is not a developer's website. This is an association that was hired by the HOA. What is a capitalization fee? Capitalization fees are payments by owners into the reserve accounts to help build the association's savings account. Not as lofty and not as philanthropic sounding as some of the explanations from the developers. Again, it's it's non-negotiable.
Yeah,
So
it's unavoidable. We want to make you aware of it. We only like good surprises, not bad ones. And even if it is a couple $1,000s or even something not that big, if you're not expecting that,
yeah,
you're not going to be too happy. So like Brett said, we try to get in front of things. We try to be very proactive. We reach out to the HOA or the boards in advance of our client signing anything. Like you said, whether it's new construction or resale, this is really important. And I like how you said, just because it's written a certain way, we're the realtors, we're the experts on the ground. So we can take carte blanche to say, okay, if we're representing a buyer and we know it's really competitive, maybe another like listing has 10 offers, this actually happened to me. I was the 11th offer and I said, my client is covering HOA fees. And guess what? We got the deal. Do you think that a couple $1,000 extra expenditure was worth it to say we got the home and beat out 10 other people? I would say so. But if you're in a different situation and you're like, I don't have that extra cash out of pocket because it would be paid out at closing, right, Brett? Then that's just something to be aware of.
yeah. So again, this explanation was much more kind of goes into
It's like Webster's dictionary type
yeah.
of thing.
And I don't know Spectrum Association Management personally. I was just Googling and trying to find out because everyone's going to explain things differently. Title companies will say one thing, the developer, the builder, the salesperson that works at Highland Home, Perry Homes, Coventry Homes. I mean, it goes to the developer, and yes, theoretically, like it is to maintain. I wouldn't say maintain the community because that's what your HOA dues are for, like your monuments, your groundskeeping, all
Monuments?
the landscape, all the signs, like with all like great wood
Yeah.
trails. So like all your signage and all the things. Yeah, that seems like me yearly dues, but again, it's non-negotiable, and the prices that these developers are paying to buy land and to develop land and the cost of inflation, I'm not begrudging them at all.
Right.
And again, if I'm buying and selling in 10 years, this comes up one time, when I buy, and then another time in 10 years later when I sell, not a big deal. I've never seen a deal fall through or break or someone not buying a community.
Well, that's because you're on top of things, Brett, too. You're a great
some of
agent.
these, in 2016, 2017, when these were just popping up, you're like, what the hell is this? But now if you're in a nice community, master plan community, it's expected. And roughly, again, it's going to be different. It's going to be in the initial builder's contract. Like I just showed you on the very first one right here. This is page, I forget this, halfway down right there, you can see, so they'll tell you about it, and it's very commonplace. So, but it's going to be about a quarter point general. And again, some are a third, some are half.
Can vary. Yeah.
Yes. But then the foundation fee about a quarter point. Capitalization is usually about 1 year's HOA dues. So if it's 1,000, might be 1,000. If it's 1,200, might be 1,200. But talk with your agent, which is hopefully us, or ask the salesperson, or call the HOA themselves directly. A lot of the information is online, but if you're looking at communities, they may or may not reference this. They'll for sure tell you the tax rate, and they'll for sure tell you the HOA dues yearly, but they might not address this, but it's out there. So give us a call, give us an email. We'll get to the bottom of it for you if you're interested in a certain community, and we'll tell you exactly what all entails. So this is kind of what it looks like on the actual closing statement. So right here, this was the first contract that I showed you. This was that HOA cap fee to Harvest Green HOA, $9.95. So this was when we bought brand new in 2018. Okay. And this is when we sold in 2020. So you can see there is the HOA cap fee and then the HOA foundation fee, which adds up to $2,300.
Yeah, not a small amount.
Yeah, so we did sell for higher than we bought. I think we sold this one for like $458. So there's a quarter point of the sales price, and then there was about a 1 year. I think the cap fee was about 1 year HOA, which in Harvest Green I believe is about. It'll say right here, just roughly say 1,000, maybe 1,100. So again, this goes in line with what we're talking about. And even another community I just had a closing on last year. You can see right here, working capital fee. So cap fee, $990. And this home was right around 400,000, a little under. So guys, these fees are out there. And we just wanted to let you guys know before you're starting to think about new construction or master plan communities, not only buying in them, but reselling, these fees aren't going away. And they're becoming more and more prevalent. I don't see any master plan communities that aren't doing these, whether it's one of them or both of them or they're named something else. I would say I like calling them developer fees because whenever you say HOA costs or HOA fees, you think of HOA dues. And that's what I always thought.
And
Like,
you're like, I'm already paying that.
yeah, I pay $1,000 a month. What's this other HOA
Or a
due?
year.
And it's like, yeah,
I
thank
was
God.
like, Brett, dang, where are you living?
Yeah, thank God I don't
He has
pay
like
$1,000 a month.
his own like armored guard in the front.
Yeah, I have a chauffeur. Yeah, sure I do. But yeah, so we just like calling them developer related fees because they're the ones that set forth kind of these one-time fees every time the title changes hands.
Exactly. So, man, I'm glad I could show up for this video today, Brett. You nailed it. Great job. He covered for me because I don't have my glasses on either. So I hope you found the content to be really just beneficial and eye-opening and just something to kind of start a conversation around this. And like Brett said, it's not going to be the deal breaker of why you do or do not get a home. Again, we just don't want any bad surprises, right? So we've got your back. Again, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, get our contact information below, and we can't wait to see you again here next week.